Oh my gosh, Money in the Bank is just a couple weeks away and everything's shaping up. Becky Two Bells has a challenger, tag teams are flying all over the place, and are you ready to get zacked? It's a Monday Night Raw after show and it starts right now.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah.
There
you go. Tin Man, I swear, man.
How's everyone doing out there in the world, coming off one of the greatest weekends ever for nerddom? In fact, that's the reason co-hosts TK and Evan are not in studio. They went and saw Endgame last weekend and are taking the night off to recover. That's how intense it is. My name is Flobo Boyce. Thanks for tuning in to the Monday Night Raw After Show. I'm being joined by the man, the myth, the legend, crawling on his hands and knees, even though he's not 100%, but he's still the man. Hashtag Heal Jim Alexander.
Man, I'm at like 20% right now, and the tank is going empty. If I look like death, it's because I'm feeling like it.
So what happened, man? Super kick party or what?
Listen, I don't know. Something hit me where I can't even hear anything. Like, I have the biggest head congestion, so any remedies for a sinus infection or whatnot, hit me up, because I don't know if I need a trip to the doctor or to the Firefly Funhouse.
That means no one can hear you boo. You can boo Heal Jim right now using our chat right now, live chat right here on YouTube. We're looking at all the comments. And if you want to support the show and you're in the chat, we have the super chat function. That's a way that you can say thanks. All right, Monday Night Raw, 3 weeks out of Money in the Bank. The card seemed like it came out of nowhere overnight with both the male and the female participants. Before we get into all of that, overall impressions of the show. What do you think, Jim?
I thought it was a solid Raw.
Solid?
Yeah, I mean, we're now starting to establish after the shakeup, right? Things are starting to even out. You're starting to see the new feuds. I thought it was a good show. I know what direction they're going for Money in the Bank, even though it's being really quickly put together.
Okay,
but I think we know the direction where things are going.
I'm actually looking forward to Money in the Bank. It looks like I'm a SummerSlam guy. That's like my WrestleMania. That's the pay-per-view, the first one I ever saw. The first one I ever saw on video. The first one I saw in the Attitude Era was all SummerSlams. So I'm excited for that. I do think Money in the Bank opens that season. It did come pretty fast, but I like the fact that it's becoming like a pay-per-view of merit. I think Backlash in that traditional spot for so many years has just been like, we're just going to do WrestleMania again, guys. Yep. Woo! You know, how'd you feel about Alexa Bliss just coming out, not coming out, but in 2 segments announcing the Raw participants like that? No qualifying matches, no tournaments, anything like that.
I like it because she's now getting back to the ring slowly, right? They're working her in, but she's still keeping up her segments. She's still acting kind of like the host in a lot of ways. So I like, you get two views of Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that.
Oh, Lord.
And
it's a family show, Jim.
Well, hey, no one's watching. Family, that is. But I like that you're utilizing her skills, right? So she's great on a mic. You get her to talk and host a segment, put over other segments in the same way. I think it's a perfect way, a win-win situation.
Oh, for sure. I mean, traditionally, I've been very neutral on Alexa Bliss as like all of her career put together. But it is interesting to see how they're finding ways to use her. Like, if there's a will, there's a way. And Alexa Bliss is definitely...
think she's a star?
I won't say that. I think she is what I call it's like a BMW superstar. Like, all the tools are there. I know she's a great, but it's not my vibe. I'm an American car guy. I drive a Ford.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
I get that. Yeah.
I'm not knocking that. So the men announced were Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, and Baron Corbin. Any one of those guys scream Money in the Bank winner to you?
First of all, those are the 4 guys from the Raw brand. There's going to be 4 SmackDown.
Correct.
Here's the thing. We know with Braun Strowman, he's just there as a body, right? To do a spot, probably. He's not going over. Ricochet's an interesting choice. I think he could use it the most of anyone. I honestly, from those 4 guys, I don't see anyone from SmackDown winning. I see one of these 4 guys winning it.
Fair,
I mean, 3 guys, because I'm discounting Braun. I think Ricochet could use it the most, and Baron Corbin. If you really want to put over Baron Corbin, like we've been saying, that push, you really want to get that second chance, he can use it also as part of the storyline. Like, here, I'm winning it again. This time I'm not going to waste it, right?
Fair enough.
And because I think Drew McIntyre, it would be almost too simple to give it to him because he can get over on his own. He can get a title match on his own without needing the Money in the Bank.
So why are you discounting Braun Strowman? I mean, you said you want to build him up. This could be his rehab assignment. The 2-time monster in the back to back.
I think they buried him too much it would be too big of a jump.
Okay, so if you...
Plus, he can always, if they want to do the Cold Kane thing where he's suddenly, any week he could be the dominant force, they can make that still with him. I think other guys are more needy. I think Ricochet could really use that. I think Baron Corbin could really use that. They need it more than the other guys who can get over kind of on their own.
Oh, for sure. Definitely, before we get to the women's side real quick, they ended up having a tag team match impromptu, right? So you had Braun and Ricochet against Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, which I thought was pretty interesting, having on mic Braun Strowman being the guy to call the match. It's almost like, oh, you're a super face. I thought he was kind of doing the whole, like, I am a monster, I'm a man, but him saying, I'm teaming with Ricochet right now. Seems kind of like, cheer for me, please clap, you know?
He's been a face for a while. I just think they're keeping it up. They always do this little tease of like, well, here's how he can be so destructive and flipping a car, and then next thing he's just like pandering to the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like he's that kind of Big Show face. You know, when Big Show towards the twilight of his career, where he was that face where big giant, but yet also shaking hands. Yeah. I think that's what they're doing to Braun.
Overall impressions of that matchup, though. Those four guys.
Interesting.
Involved.
I mean, you have the smaller guy in Ricochet and Giant and Braun versus the two guys who have been working as a team, right? And Baron Corbin and Drew.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting matchup.
I thought so too. It was kind of interesting for me that Ricochet got the pin with a shooting star press and not the 630. My question is, do you think they're going to soften up Ricochet as far as his character and making sure his moves are toned down, or am I reading too much into it?
Maybe reading. It's only one match. We don't know yet. One match, but here's the thing. If you see it more often, then that's a thing. Yeah. You know, that's a good point that you've noticed right there. Yeah. That, you know, but maybe that's the thing we talked about. Maybe they're trying to, we talked about this on the NXT after show, how they're trying to maybe take less bumps for him, you know, trying to do the less high flying things to preserve him in a lot of ways.
Right. And that's kind of like the WWE philosophy versus the independent philosophy, right? But we won't get into that because the chat will like blow up.
Not tonight. No, the wrong guy here in the chair for that.
On the women's side, the four Raw women have been chosen as well: Dana Brooke, Natalya, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss herself. Were any of those surprises?
How kind of bare is the Raw women's division now? Like, they took everyone to SmackDown. Like, that's all you get. I mean, Natalya, okay, she's always like the solid kind of, you know, the safe pick, right? Dana Brooke, we've seen slight pushes of her lately, so I guess it makes sense for her to be there. Alexa Bliss, fine, the biggest star of them all, obviously the most main event quality of them all. And who's the fourth one? Oh, Naomi. Naomi's getting a good push on Raw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're building her. So she makes sense because they brought her over. They want to build her. She's been picking up wins. So I guess this is what you get on Raw because all the top kind of women, they're Sasha Banks on a hiatus and everyone else is on SmackDown. Who else do you have?
Well, Lacey, but she's occupied.
Right.
Definitely a point. Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat with there. Like, I'm not knocking Dana Brooke or Natalya, but I felt like it came out of blue a little bit. There is this redemption storyline that's bubbling for Dana, but I feel like it's always been this like cat and mouse game. They don't want to go ahead and do it full push and get everyone on her. She'll say something like, it's my opportunity, and then you don't see her for a month. And Natalya, as talented as she is, she's definitely the Cassius Ohno of that division. When someone comes someone comes in, they go over Natalya, and it's like she's way too talented, but I don't see her winning it unless there's some other like added like this is for her dad. That would be last year. I don't even know what will be the storyline reason for Natalya to go over.
But she's not. That's the whole point. She's just the safe worker. That's the veteran that they know what they can expect from. Here's the thing about Dana Brooke. She's talking about getting over, but she hasn't. Like, we're seeing Naomi actually get over. She's getting wins. She's going over in matches. She's getting, you know, the spotlight. Dana Brooke's only time she's just talking about it, you know? So it's like, this is a time, if they're actually going to go with something for her, she needs to pick up a win or look strong because the talking is just going to be like that gimmick. Or like, oh, I'm not underappreciated. I'm not getting over, and still nothing.
I know this is kind of almost a prediction, but SmackDown's tomorrow. Is there anyone on that roster you want to see in that match or possibly win that match? Because I do feel like you're right. It is kind of open on Raw.
I mean, it's stacked on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That Mandy Rose, my girl. I mean, this is a time for. But here, how about this?
She was doing everything.
Liv Morgan. Okay, I got her name right. Liv Morgan.
SmackDown
they
Liv.
brought her over to SmackDown. She's now a singles competitor.
Sure.
Why not? This would be a strong way of getting her over in the singles division, having her go over. I mean, she definitely should be in this match, but even winning it. For this, I see SmackDown winning the women's Money in the Bank, for sure. Okay. With the Raw one, I see the men from Raw winning it, but with SmackDown, I just don't see who it would. Natalya won't get it. I mean, she doesn't... That push won't do much. Okay. Dana Brooke, unless they're really serious about pushing her, maybe Naomi, but they need to show more that they're invested in her long term. And Alexa Bliss will be just too easy. She won it last year, and she doesn't need it.
For sure. The chat is mostly saying Naomi. Dylan Matthews says Dana Brooke is getting a Sasha Banks spot in the match. Dang. Where are the Riot Squads? Are they?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Where are they?
I have no idea where they are.
No, they're just kind of forgotten, maybe?
Okay, yeah. Oh, no, Dylan also said put some respect on Italian Not Hard thing. Hey, I am not knocking on. I am not turning heel. I am a natural face. I'm as face as they come. But let's be real. What was the last time Natalya had a long-term feud where she came out on top? I can't think of it. And it's been years.
She's so solid and dependable that she's an enhancement talent. You know, she's there to put over others.
Exactly.
And it's been her complaint kind of throughout her career. You know, I think she deserves to be a main eventer. She should have, but that time has passed for her. It really has. She's been around too long, established in this mid-card, like, purgatory, right?
Right.
BMP.
The BMP. But Italian. Shout out to Evan Mack and Barry Mack for sure.
That's right.
My pick, of course, to win that match, hopefully she gets in the match on SmackDown, is my girl Bayley. But I'm a Bayley Mark, but it's all good. Right. So before we go to the next topic, my man Jim, you have something to tell our fantastic fans and viewers out there?
That's right. Thank you for sitting through. And I don't know how long I have going today with this health issue, whatever's going on.
You're going to survive the night, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I was going to do an X sign of something. Thanks for making us the ESPN of TV Talk and tuning in and joining us on a chat today. When our full panel is out, we like to interact especially more with you guys. So thanks for commenting and definitely subscribe whenever you're there. Raw After Show, that's the place to be. And NXT also. So keep on commenting. Thanks for joining the chat. Keep it up. And on iTunes, just give us a 5-star rating and subscribe. So you know the deal, everyone.
Definitely off topic. Last week I called out the SmackDown team. Fantastic team if you guys don't watch that show. And I was like, look, how come we don't have crossovers or superstar shakeups of our own? And we're thinking about doing a video game tournament. We should have a 2K19 tournament with all the wrestling hosts. I'm just putting it out there in the universe. Nothing sanctioned. It's WCW uncensored. And just hopefully that happens.
Can you imagine a crossover with me and Rosenberg? Like this one, I don't know how this would go even. I don't know if I'm made for SmackDown or they can handle me in there.
Right, Gabby on NXT, TK over there on SmackDown.
Man.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Our next, so we have our superstar contract signing for the Universal Championship, and of course, contract signings always go according to plan. AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. Now, last week you were saying it's a great match on paper, it's fantastic in real life, but it's kind of rushed. But now we're getting some story. So how do you feel about that? Is it still kind of on that
rushed?
Side?
It's still rushed because the pay-per-view's 3 weeks away. And we're talking about SummerSlam. If you want to do that, that's Survivor Series, maybe the next biggest thing. Honestly, they should have held this out to at least, for me, WrestleMania. Okay. Honestly, these are the two top guys. Okay. I don't see anyone coming in to unseat either of them, right? Maybe if Lesnar, you can't depend on him. But here's the thing. These are two guys. You should have almost a year-long kind of teasing of a feud. Backstage interactions, one day when we go against each other, like they did with Kofi and Seth. Remember that little thing? Well, one day we'll get each other. They should be teasing this until people would be jacked for this. If this came around like Rumble and you're seeing finally the seeds of it happening, what do we get now? What do you do? Like I said, the same thing that they did with WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. When you get all the, put all the eggs in a basket, what happens after? Now, if you're going to give this, they're going to deliver. We know that.
Right.
On Money in the Bank, it's already stacked pay-per-view. You don't need them to be, because you already have the Money in the Bank match to put the pay-per-view over. That's just, they're giving too much for a pay-per-view that's already over.
Okay.
And this match should be held off. It's going to be a great match. The feud's good. Do you turn one of them heel? I mean that would be AJ, right?
Well,
going over heel.
Because luckily that thing with Vince last year gave him that edge to be a tweener if need be. He can go, like, not super heel, but enough to go over it. But not to say I disagree with you, but here's a counterpoint. You're WWE, you have this giant, like, touring schedule, you have these two top talents, you have Money in the Bank, which is definitely considered a minor pay-per-views of the big four. Why hold them back to WrestleMania? Why not give people a tease? Why not have the match be a non-finish? Why not do something else? Why not...
Because it goes downhill from then on. And they're having the same problems they do now with Becky. It's like, where do you go? You have so much more programming. We just come off of WrestleMania, right?
Fair.
We're still on a WrestleMania high. These are the points, and you have the Money in the Bank, so you're getting that early. It's usually in June to begin with. Why not stretch things out? They're rushing things. When you rush and throw everything out there, what else do we have to wait for in the dire months? After SummerSlam, in the fall, when September's, October's, even in like June, July. what do you do then when you're throwing out these major feuds?
Oh, yeah. So, like the chat, I just had it here. Stephen Wynn says, Money in the Bank is the same day as the finale of Game of Thrones, so they want the views. If that's the case, that will be interesting. I mean, I know WrestleMania always tries to avoid Easter for that reason. And Sarju asked, will AJ and Seth be a cheated finish? I think so. There's no way there's I would not see a clean finish there. It has to be.
If someone goes over, it just makes the other guy look weak. If Seth goes over AJ, then what is the whole point of him being that big acquisition and looking strong going forward?
Right.
You know?
The actual contract signing was pretty good as far as contract signings go. There were some cringeworthy moments in the promos on both ends. It's fine. They're not really used to working with each other, but definitely the schmaz of having the fight and then the plancha and then the phenomenal form to the table says, okay, Seth is great. He's formidable. So is AJ. It never rests, never rust. I'm on board. Now, if you could not put them on Money in the Bank, right? Let's say you were saving them for SummerSlam or Survivor Series. What's our main event then on the Raw side?
Corbin versus...
really? Corbin versus?
Yeah, Corbin. He would have won that match versus AJ somehow, with a cheap win or something. You just throw Corbin in there. Unless, like I said, there are plans for him to actually win it. It's the only way. I thought Corbin was built enough and he had that little kind of burst, after Mania with the Angle thing and could have won that mini tournament, and you do that match. And it wouldn't be the worst match.
Yeah. Look,
because like I said, Money Bank's already sold on the 2 Money in the Bank matches. You don't care about the main events itself because the other stuff is the priority of the pay-per-view.
Right. Look, we always bag Corbin. I'm not saying I'm a Corbin fan, but he needs to be away from the main event. Whether you like him or hate him.
I don't bag him.
Yeah, of course not. I like the fact now they're giving us reason to really hate him with his accolades and saying all that. Mm-hmm. That, to me, is really rich because he does have those notes. But to have that... be the face of the bad period in WWE and post reset still having the constable look and then having him in that post WrestleMania pay-per-view main event, that would just be too much. I think
transition period, right?
Transition period means he gets down the card and give us Robert Roode or something. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. We didn't see him tonight.
See,
that's another thing about tonight. Like, you had a strong, repackaging for him. Where's he tonight? You need to keep it consistent. You need to bring these guys out every week. We needed to see him go over someone tonight. And like this, he had a great re-debut, and then what? We forget about him.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the deal. You have to spell your guys, but like push things out because it's a brand new character.
Yeah.
What about our man Bray Wyatt? Right? Episode 2,
I need a trip through Firefly. Maybe I'll get cured there, okay?
Yeah.
It just keeps on getting better, right?
I have to agree. It is. I wasn't on board last week. I was kind of like, what is this? But this is definitely, as a writer, right? There's that character point of it. Like, I was this bad person and I'm suppressing it. Huh, kids? And he's like trying to crack at the surface. You could buy the t-shirts at Shop Zone. It's
awesome.
nuts.
Here's the thing. Do you think that they're rushing the psychotic turn too fast? I'm seeing him become from like goody two shoes to like really psychotic, and today we saw more of it. Even with the whole psychopath thing, and then him showing those facial expressions. I think they're rushing too much. It needs to be a slower turn, because like this, he's already almost Bray Wyatt from before.
Sure.
Just with like a background of a different gimmick. You need to do that turn into a psycho, which we know it's inevitable, but do it slower. I think they're rushing it too quick.
I agree with you that it does, but I really feel also the first week was definitely so like in the middle. They had to like spell it out for people.
Maybe they didn't know
like
what the
myself,
reaction,
right? Because I was like, "Well, have they gone off their rocker? Is it going to be the Funkasaurus of a Bray Wyatt? Oh no, he definitely has his lair. I got it. So I'm glad I got this one. But you're right. If he does that thing even more broad next week, then I'll say it'd be a total rush job. They're
keeping it? That's a good thing because they were almost going to pull it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you think he comes back by himself, or do you think that there's a stable happening there? I mean, he has friends on that show.
He needs to be by himself. I mean, you could maybe use those caricatures. I don't know how they're going to do it. Or utilize that. They have to. For me, this reminded me of a sadistic Pee-wee's Playhouse, doesn't it?
Kind of redundant, but yeah.
But it does. I mean, even with the hiney ho or what, I don't, whatever it is. The guy in the box that Pee-wee used to talk to. That's what. What's her name? Abby, or I think it's Abby.
Yeah, Abby.
She was like in the window too. It was almost like reminiscent in so many ways. I think they're pulling it from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah, I'm kind of old. I remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He had the cat just hanging out, Henrietta or something like that. So it definitely it pulls from a lot of things.
Definitely.
Bright Colors, Blues Clues. If you're a certain age, a little bit after my time, but he starts coming out with the songs. So we have the superstar shakeup a couple weeks in the rearview mirror. We have all these new like exchanges and stuff. Definitely changing alliances. How'd you feel about the new Usos coming out to the ring, singing their songs a la R-Truth? You know, guys,
Two-face, almost too much of a face, right? They're kind of edgy. They were good enough where they were right before when they like, you know, on SmackDown, right? When they had the titles, they were kind of, because they turned him heel and then they turned him kind of face again.
Sure.
So like their last few weeks on SmackDown leading up to WrestleMania, that's the kind of character they need to roll with. I know they're funnier now in a lot of ways and they're, you know, kind of kayfabe talking about the arrests and all that, but it's too gimmicky almost. Like these guys they're cool heels in a sense, like slash they blur the line between heels and faces, you know, but they're cool enough where people accept them as faces. Now they're just going straight up bona fide faces.
Yeah, that to me was a little disappointing because I think I was the kind of person that kind of forgot about the Usos. Not that they're bad again, but it was kind of like, oh, you're on SmackDown, you're buried or whatever. Right. And they bubbled themselves up to the top, got traded to Raw. And it's one thing if you came out more happier to your music or started pointing at the crowd, but you're giving us the everybody say what's up. I mean, they're in Kentucky, mind you. I don't think the people out there even know.
Going over there.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the lyrics to their songs already memorized or anything. But to me, it seemed weird. There was a missed audio cue there, and it kind of went over to the Revival in that little prank video, which was a throwback to the Attitude Era, but in all the wrong ways. So I want to know your opinion about that. You're the Revival, right?
Yeah.
The rumors are swirling that you weren't happy, but then there are new rumors that you signed an extension or what have you, and then you're portrayed in a storyline where you're caught shaving your partner's back. And I love you, Jim, but I would never do that for you, no matter how much you tag team
no worries.
on the show.
No worries. Yeah, they're the pun of the joke, right? They're the pun of the joke for the Usos. So Usos are the ones that are over, that matter, and they're the guys that are kind of, they're bunt of the jokes, right? So once again, that doesn't put the Revival over. They're the clowns, right, in this scenario. So I don't like it. I think you need to make him look stronger and then just be like it's a fun bit backstage. It's funny, but it's one of that kind of potty humor, you know, that sort of thing. And if you're trying to build a division and tag teams, like that doesn't do any favors for that.
It seemed very pre-reset. The whole AOP and Drake Maverick with the peeing on the robe type deal from back last fall.
Oh, yeah,
It just seemed like the kind of storyline that they were trying to avoid doing. But then it was like we were backstage and that's what we got, right? But speaking of faces, Miz got his first ascended cheer that I can remember. Here, he's a bona fide face.
He is.
Has Lashley on Miz TV, right? Which now
did they explain Lio Rush or did I miss it completely?
No. Bobby Lashley is a new person talking to himself in the third person. We've seen the Miz TV thing gimmick a lot of times, and we've seen Lashley come out on these shows and be made fool of. But I would say this, as much as I'll be the first one to admit this, I've ragged on Lashley for being a cardboard box or a pylon or whatever. This is the first time I did not like Lashley for all the good reasons. Like, I felt like, okay, this is a reason why I should hate this guy. And maybe credit to The Miz, or maybe credit to Bobby Lashley himself for taking it over, but I really felt like Miz was a good guy, and then there was someone I want to see beat. And that's Lashley.
And here's the thing, maybe the crutch of Lio Rush being the talking head is helpful to Lashley, not having him around, right?
Where do you put Lio Rush then? If they're like divorced.
I think Lio Rush will be out for a while.
What? You would like cut Lio Rush? Or reassign him? Or?
Oh, I think he's probably 205 Live or NXT.
He's a man of the hour.
Not if you're reading some of the gossip, whatever's going on. We don't know the whole story there, but there's some heat. But I don't. Where does he fit it on a main roster?
Well, he's on this app where you can pay $20. He'll cut a promo on you. It's pretty cool.
What, $20? I think.
Yeah,
he's the cheapest one of them all. So
I'm just saying.
There you go.
If I wouldn't have low self-esteem, pay a little Rush $20.
I'll cut a promo for free when I'm healthy. So
hashtag Hill Jim. What say you guys in the chat? Also Gallows and Anderson were in that segment too. So they got moved to Raw, surprisingly.
Surprising. Didn't they ask for a release too?
I thought they did. So
I think their only reason there, if they go with an AJ heel turn, they're gonna form the Bullet Club.
Will they call the Bullet Club? Obviously not. But
they've been teasing it whenever they had these little, inter-brand things, or when they were on SmackDown when AJ was there. They had a few matches together. But
I like Balor Club better. I like that when he was the Balor.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, that's not going to happen for sure. So Shane comes out of this whole segment and lifts Lashley's hand. Not sure if he's managing Lashley, but the implication is there, and he somehow chokes out the Miz. I thought this segment would have been perfect to move Miz on to somebody else without Shane O'Mac. what is the deal with having Shane McMahon be that guy again? Still.
Here's the thing. I thought of all the feuds at WrestleMania, they closed a chapter on theirs. I personally thought they stole the show at Mania. I did. I will stick to it.
Shaking my head no.
I will.
Camera,
I do.
guys.
They really did. And for them, that's the way you close it, right? I mean, Shane went over, but it's fine because both look strong in that. They both beat the heck out of each other.
Right.
What's there left? You know, you can't go more brutal than what they did at WrestleMania. So for them to get a cage match is going a step backwards in a way and extending the feud. I'm not hating the feud. I just think they maximize it already. So what's there left to do? Because we could have seen there's enough legs to this storyline where you can continue with it.
There isn't.
Although they need to remove Mrs. Father. Like, you've used that up.
Agreed.
That is like way used up at this point.
It didn't make sense from a logical standpoint.
Right. But they're still using that, and that's another bad crutch.
Right.
So it just feels forced.
The whole impetus of having his dad there was they were a tag team and they won, and Dad loved them. Totally forgetting the fact that Miz had won the tag team championships with Morrison and all these other guys.
Right.
That made no sense. So you had this match, which did not steal WrestleMania because no one's talking about it except for you, Jim.
Well, here's another thing. Are they keeping it around just to keep Shane's character? Because who's a Shane feud with? Is he like an active kind of a wrestler? So if they want to keep this whole gimmick of Beston where he's a bona fide heel, then he needs a new opponent. Like this, they don't have anyone for him. So the only thing that's keeping it alive is the Miz feud.
I know this sounds completely cynical out there, guys in the chat. Let me know, but I felt like they just kept this to make Crown Jewel relevant. I don't understand. Like Shane doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. He's in his late 50s. He's in his 50s now or late 40s?
No, I think late 40s.
He's in his late 40s. He's not an active competitor. He doesn't wrestle all the time. They said that there's no general managers, even though NXT UK, and 205 Live have general managers. So, but you have Shane coming out on both brands now, and for what? Is anyone buying Shane merchandise? Is Shane going on the Today Show? I have no idea. Have you watched Shane's cookbook? I have no idea what they're doing it for. And personally, this is probably from many, many years of watching it on TV and playing the games. Cage matches are my least favorite stipulation. You can't see what's going on.
Here's the thing, they kind of changed them over the years. Like, I liked it when you had to climb out of the old school days. Well, the old school days where you actually had to climb out of a cage. Now, just everyone opens the door or like, you know, it's not really, the purpose of a cage doesn't serve its justice because it's not... Right. It's not like a Hell in a Cell in a way, you know. And even Hell in a Cell, it's sort of like watered down at this point.
Well, sure. I mean,
but the cage man doesn't do it, especially for this feud where they already did the most they could.
If there's such a thing as a filler stipulation, it's like cage matches and street fights are always the ones where you're just like, okay,
no holds barred or
no holds barred. Remember those time when Raw had like the vote for your match stipulation? They were the same thing 3 times.
That's right.
Like no DQ, street fight, no holds barred. You know,
pick one.
You must be
pick
a winner.
Favorite. Yeah.
So crazy. Now it's time for our special segment. One we're gonna call. It's a new one. It's called Superstar Stock Exchange. Love it. Yeah.
Nice. Shane, money.
You start doing the little like walk he does. Basically, we're going to do a rapid fire segment of our superstars that didn't get a lot of time today on Monday Night Raw. And we'll say, if you were going to buy, sell, or trade stocking them, what would you do? So, Jim, you ready?
Yep.
Sami Zayn comes on out with a promo, still talking the bad stuff to the audience. You're watching at home. Buy or sell?
Do I have his stock already or no? Do I have to buy it or sell?
Yeah, you can buy it.
Here's the thing. I bought his stock a couple weeks ago, and I was just going to sell it last week, but this week he saved himself. I thought it was the best of his promos.
Yeah.
It was finally logical, which was the problem last week's. It just didn't make sense. I'm buying it. I'm keeping the stock for a while.
It's a sell for me, man. Sami Zayn has to do something fast in the ring for me to keep carrying. That's just the way I see things.
Okay, I see that.
Our man Samoa Joe, the U.S. champ, one of the most dominant-looking U.S. champs in recent history, but loses to Rey Mysterio after a 3-week match, 3 weeks from WrestleMania when they went 65 seconds. Buy or sell?
Selling.
Absolutely selling
Samoa Joe because look, he got that title and we don't even know it. He had the most unceremonious switch to Raw. First of all, I know he was sick or something backstage, but still they could have hyped it up better. This run with the U.S. title has done nothing for him. Really, he hasn't been featured. He's had a short squash match of Rey right at Mania, but that didn't really put him over. You know, and now he lost a couple weeks in a row. It's just not looking like a guy that you want to, you know, put over or like the second guy with a singles title on a brand, right? And this is their Intercontinental title version right now on Raw with the U.S. So you need to make them look stronger and more relevant. It just hasn't looked so far like that.
I disagree. Joe is getting the cheers again, and definitely it's just all SmackDown afterburn. I think this first Raw feud we won, he'll go over and be more dominant.
Hope so.
The Raw Tag Team division as a whole, we got a lot more teams in the mix. Hawkins and Ryder, Lucha House Party, Viking Raiders, and the Revival and the Uso. They're all getting time after so many months of not being featured. Raw Tag Team division, buy or sell?
So
Absolutely.
top heavy and then really weak. Top heavy, Viking Raiders, I guess that's what they call them.
Don't call it boy.
Usos, and then what? You mentioning Lucha House Party is not a good thing, okay? That is like the lowest of low on it.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are basically jobbers in an act, right? And then I am never going to buy Zack Ryder and Hawkins because remember, they were jobbers for the last 10 years and suddenly you're supposed to believe in them as some sort of legitimate tag team.
Yeah.
For me, they're still on the bottom. And who else is really that? Revival are not getting booked properly.
Sure.
They have the potential to. And then look, Rude and Gable, as much as we didn't care for them, but that's a team that's been broken up. Mm-hmm. You lost some teams, right? I mean, I don't know who else. I mean, that's top heavy with like two major teams, and then everyone else seems weak.
I absolutely agree. It's definitely looks like, as much as I love Lucha House Party and their merchandise on WWEshop.com, I'm selling it right now until something big happens. That concludes Superstar Stock Exchange. That was pretty fun. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Good
for
segment.
sure. So, but we got the women's division, right? We got Becky 2 belts, your favorite women's wrestler of all time, putting up both belts on the line at Money in the Bank, which means it's not a unification match. I thought it was unified, but I guess she's going to wrestle for both of them against Lacey Evans. Now, Lacey has very, very quickly has shown that she's a formidable competitor. I'm still worried she's being fed to Becky. Doesn't show her dominance or whatever. Back to the problem we're having last week, the week before. If Lacey goes into Money in the Bank and does not win, clean or whatever, where does she go?
Here's the problem. She's dropping the title to Charlotte. I'm seeing that because you need the title back on SmackDown, and there's a reason why it's Charlotte wrestling, right? So they're going to give it back to Charlotte. She's going to be the queen of SmackDown in that sense. So she's going to drop it somehow to Charlotte. What do you do with Lacey? I think she would be better off dropping it to Lacey in a sense because that would make her look stronger, and then she'd still have the SmackDown title, but they want to move her to Raw. That's the plan for Becky. Now, Lacey can't win the title, and she's not dropping 2 titles in one night.
Right.
The only way Lacey gets over is like a disqualification beatdown where she can look strong and be disqualified and have Becky retain that way. That's the only way you book that because she can't go over clean on Lacey. Yeah. She cannot. If she does, it's all scrapped.
Yeah.
In that way. Lacey's just like a false advertising in a lot of ways. She's losing one of the I just don't like these 2 pay-per-view. Wait for the next pay-per-view to have another title match. You know, I know they're trying to make Becky this like undefeated, you know, like the Goldberg almost of really.
First it was Austin, now it's Goldberg.
Yeah, that was Goldberg.
Yeah.
She's not losing and she has all the titles, but you overbooked it again. Okay. She's fighting 2 matches and then she's got to drop 1 title and then 1 competitor that's really they're trying to build, and how do you make them look strong and good? Yeah. It's a tough thing, and once again, I'm just bored with Becky's promos. It's the same thing every week now after Mania.
She's the man.
Becky 2 belts. I'm the man. You know, I can take on anyone. Like, it's just redundant. What has she done this week that she didn't do the last 2 weeks?
Absolutely nothing.
Same thing. Be honest with you. Same thing. And it's like, this is what I said about Becky. You know, it was a hot run. But now we will see what kind of a star she is, because Charlotte doesn't need to go to these. Even Alexa. For me, Alexa and Charlotte are the 2 bona fide stars in a women's division. Like, they just exude stardom. And because why? Because every week there's something different about them. Even if they do similar gimmicks, even their promos are different. You know, they don't need to have the same thing. With Becky, just seeing the same promo, I could have watched tonight's promo 2 weeks ago, and it's the same thing she's saying.
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. As much as I was on like the thing where she's a good talent, but this storyline's overbooked. It's post Ronda, and now I have not seen anything to really latch on or anything.
Yeah, what's new? What's new?
There is nothing new. Yeah. But it is interesting to me that she has 2 separate matches. I felt like in the Attitude Era when Kurt Angle had both the Intercontinental and European, he put both in one match and he lost them both the same night. But this one having 2 distinct time one can cause the loss of the other. You know.
True.
Yeah. So Money in the Bank is coming live from Hartford, Connecticut at the XL Center about 3 weeks' time. Let's go with this card real quick. Becky Lynch taking on Lacey Evans, and she's taking on Charlotte Flair, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, Roman Reigns against Elias, and the 2 Money in the Bank matches, and the Miz Shane Cage matches.
Honestly, this is like a SummerSlam / Rumble kind of card. This is one of the best cards they've had in a long time. Like, I would even put up with the WrestleMania card because you're seeing fresh matchups here.
Okay.
You're seeing Elias, Roman, like fresh and new, AJ versus Rollins, new, you know, Becky versus Lacey. And of course, you're going to get a great match from Charlotte and Becky. Like, you are seeing fresh, good feuds and matches, and plus the Money in the Bank matches. This is almost a card that almost could rival WrestleMania.
So why not do it? Why not do it? You have no faith in long-term planning?
No, I don't. Because look what's happened. My predictions have worked out. Look at what Becky long-term planning was. All for the moment, and now what? And the same thing with Rollins and AJ. All for the moment, then what?
Yeah. So do you think then, this is me speculating now, because I know in the fall they had the Mae Young Classic, right?
Yep.
Do you think now that's going to be some kind of implication for that title match or anything like that? They will put that as part of the winning package, if they will?
I don't
Or are they
think
going to keep it with
enough.
like the NXT thing? Okay.
Yeah, it's more of an NXT kind of side thing. I think we finally saw what they think of NXT the last few weeks.
Yeah, for sure. What's going from the chat? The chat pretty much agrees with you, saying the card looks pretty
shocking.
Boza said this is a good card. Just surprised it's after Mania, which is true. In the Attitude Era, the 2 weakest pay-per-views are always the Backlash, which is the end of April, and the Unforgiven, which is after the SummerSlam. Those two tend to be the weakest ones. But
after the biggest pay-per-views,
after the biggest I just feel like with the changing viewing habits, there's no like off season anymore. They're trying to really.
Here's
push
the thing.
it.
Do you think that other company that's starting up in May is really?
Who?
Hey, what? What?
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it.
I think so. I really think so. They are stacking this up, and listen, if it doesn't matter, you don't even mention. With Triple H mentioning this stuff at the Hall of Fame, if they're noticing, okay, and that's even they will never admit it publicly. But that's a thing. So they're stacking this pay-per-view up to get the attention on their product, which it will because it's a great card, you know?
Yeah, and it's Money in the Bank. That you say a card that sells itself.
Right,
It's a
completely.
gimmick pay-per-view that sells itself. And I know that no matter how good the card is after that, Stomping Grounds will not be as cool as Money in the Bank.
No,
right?
No.
Before we get out of here, real quick, Jim, predictions you see is going forward in the Nostradamus of our AfterBuzz TV.
Your AfterBuzz
Bam!
TV.
What's going forward, by the way?
Yeah.
You know, my head's all clogged up.
Yeah.
What's going forward?
We're going to Money in the Bank right after Money in the Bank.
Right after Money in the Bank.
These matches are already happened. We have our winners. What happens now?
Okay, after Money in a Bank, you have to have no disqualification, something with AJ and Rollins, where you separate them. And then, I'm telling you, Corbin is going to go over. I feel this is, I sense it. This whole push is for a reason. I think he is winning the Money in a Bank, and he's going to hold it for a while, and then he's going to cash in probably at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be, you're going to see a big focus on Corbin coming out of this.
So you're saying in 2019, Baron Corbin will be with the WWE Universal Champion?
Yes. I think he's the first guy to take it off Seth Rollins.
What?
Yep.
Wow. I want
That's
you
a
guys
prediction.
At home to clip this GIF out, or GIF, whatever you say.
Can I say my boy now? I don't know.
You got boys everywhere, man.
Yeah.
It's cool.
My guy, Baron Corbin, who I wasn't even high on until recently.
I'm never on that guy.
Hey, he will be the first guy to take the title off of Seth Rollins.
Wow. That is a prediction and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel good about it.
I can't even top that, man.
But he won't hold it long. I don't think he will hold it long. But
sure.
still, even just taking it off. Yeah.
I mean, now that you mention it, it does make sense how he has so much screen time. He's in that second segment of Raw where there's a 3-segment match, and he has all his accolades now, and everyone's putting on. It makes sense. I just hate that universe.
I know.
I just hate that.
You don't
that
want to live
timeline.
there, but we're
You
exposed
get all
to
the
it.
Infinity Stones. No, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly Endgame right there. That is.
Baron Corbin being the head of the roster. Oh, snap. Yo, Jim, where can the world find you out here on the internet, man?
They can find me. By the way, I apologize for no boudoir. I just don't have the energy today. But TK, keeping it real, and Jim's boudoir. Okay, you can find me all at the Jim Alexander on social media, realtalker.com. That's REL talker.com, and yeah, I'm proud of myself today for making it through, keeping it
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah. All the Corbin fans cheering.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I think his mom stopped doing a fan. So shout out to F&T Mac, shout out to at TK Trinidad, and of course the patron saint of AfterBuzz Raw, Jay Quasto, out there doing this thing. Starting on the internet, man. Liked a couple of your posts. It's awesome. I'm Flobo Boyce. You can find me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito, and Flobito.com. June 2nd, I'm running for neighborhood council.
Let's go, Mayor.
Yes, neighborhood council. Go out there and vote. Make sure if you have friends in Los Angeles, tell them to vote too. And until next time, buzz you later.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or